Saratan was calling me. But she was great yesterday. Saratan played a huge role, and there'd been sexy kissing scene. The Sakura quality was way up there too.
起きたらおはようのキスしてあげるからさ。って私何言ってんだろ。バカバカ今の忘れて。
Saratan was calling me. Plus, with her saying such more things to me, I couldn't avoid getting up. Truthfully, I peeled off my sheets covering. Oh shit. I peeled off the sheets covering me, rolled and rose from the sofa.
ちょっといつまで寝てるんさこのボケナス。こうなったら私のサムライコンデンサでぶん殴っておこ。
I switched off the alarm clock. Saratan's voice got cut off in the middle of resounding through my room.
おはよう、セーラ。
My Sarah voice clock came in quite handy. If I didn't turn it off, her voice would get louder and louder before finally turning into a meaningless buzzer. Because I wanted to greet the morning after having been woken up by Saratan, I had trained myself to hit the switch before the buzzer started ringing. Up until the present, I'd only failed at it twice. I do that too. I wake up 1 minute before my alarm clock goes off. I turn off my alarm clock and then I wake up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and be very angry and scream at my mom, dad, whatever is around first, even my own clock. Why didn't you go off? Fucking hell. God damn it. This shit ain't working. I want a new clock. Dude, seriously. It was so easy to wake up with Saratan's help. No, in actuality, it actually felt pretty awful from playing games till dawn. Or from how uncomfortable the sofa was, but being woken up by Saratan made it much less painful. I sleep in my sofa from time to time. Mine's not uncomfortable. In fact, anyone who goes into it falls asleep, even my friends who come over. I have one dude, one of my best friends, actually probably my best friend, that I've known since I was like a kid. He comes over, he puts him in this sofa of mine, he just falls asleep like instantly. Just instantly, like he's gone. I had school today. Since I skipped it a day last week, my minimum attendance shift card was starting to get a little warped. It would have been okay for me to go twice this week, but now I was compelled to be at school 3 days in order to make up for the gap. I didn't want to go, but it'd be bad if I didn't. If I stayed home any more than this, I wouldn't be able to graduate. Not that failing to graduate would change anything about me. I dreamt of Remy. It was an odd dream. It seemed terribly nostalgic. It seemed terribly lonely and terribly sad. Well, shit. Looks like my cat's here. How come? Yeah, he'll be joining me for this episode apparently, since he wants to be on my lap. Okie doke then. Alright. Also known as the Predator. So yes, the Predator will join us. And it seemed terribly distant. Would Remy come to school today? I constantly kept thinking about what happened the day before yesterday. I thought about it on and on, to the point of neglecting Ensu. Not about Shogun having appeared or the hallucination of everyone disappearing from Shibuya. I didn't attach tremendous significance to those things. Oh no, everyone disappeared from Shibuya. Oh, nothing too bad, but is a girl coming to school? Most important. They must have been my delusions. I certainly couldn't believe Shogun was an old man like that, and thinking it back over it, there were simply too many impossibilities involved in people vanishing from Shibuya. It had been a practically real feeling delusion, but I was ashamed of myself for being so quick to believe in a situation so far removed from reality. More than any of that, Remy, the girl I had called a demon until very recently. Oh boy. My memories of being in that place were surreal and malleable, as in a dream, and the one thing I still recalled clearly was the feeling of Remy embracing me. If she hadn't done that for me, I might have become deranged and lost sight of myself. Sounds legit. Why had Remy saved me? I wondered if it was because, as she'd said, we were friends. I had not a single memory of things like her being in my class since freshman year, or of us going to a movie with Missy. Just listen to this dude. Yo! Predator, as Matt would call you. Any other dude would know that a cat purrs. Yeah, he's been lying in the salon the entire afternoon. And now it's 7 o'clock. Well, nearly. And he showed up to say hi, I guess. Which is good because I didn't feel like standing up just as I'm recording to let him outside. That'd be fucking stupid. But the attitude with which she made contact with me was clearly one of a close friend. Remy had been a little closer carrying when she... carrying. I English good speaking. Please, subscribe. Remy had been a little close to crying when she held me. I noticed because I have a mind-reading device. At the very least, I didn't think it was an act. She was the first girl to ever worry about and cry over a gross otaku like me. When she acted like that towards me, it instantly blew away all my previous dread and suspicion. More than that, it made me feel like I was on the verge of falling for her. No, but as you might expect, I was keeping myself carefully reined in. Confusion took up most of the space in my heart. How should I act around Remy from now on? Was Remy really my ally or my enemy? Friend or foe? Dun, 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 dun. Was Remy the new gen criminal? It was the fact that she had saved me, but it was also the fact that I'd seen her standing still, drenched in blood at the scene of the staking, which apparently did not have any blood loss. So how was Remy covered in blood when she was not the one who killed him? I mean, it said that there was not that much blood loss, and she was definitely covered in at least 1/4 of that guy's blood. Well, that's what I say, but have you ever bled from your finger, like a small bit? Like just one tiny drop of blood would make it seem like you slaughtered 50 babies. Fucking bleeding like a swine. So anyways, that's kind of bogus. Something seems wrong. Something's wrong. It's quiet. Too quiet. I stopped by Shoto Park on the way to school. Shoto. Oh boy. I'm starting the American way of pronunciating these words because Japan is kind of like Western and it's in the West. And I think that Japanese is stupid and we should all call it in our accent because we are like that. And that's what Kirby told me. True story. True story. Kirby 1917, he's an ass. Trust me on this. Just don't go to his channel. Just trust me on that. I'm kidding. Too late. Anyways, let's click. After what happened with Yua, I'd given up my custom of eating breakfast here before heading to school. I can't imagine. It didn't feel so pleasant when I thought that Yua might be watching me from somewhere. Stop yawning, bitch ass motherfucker. And if she came over to talk to me, she'd regurgitate her annoying, crazy conspiracy theories. Ooh, learn to talk! Conspiracy theories and me again. I couldn't afford to spend any time around her. You was Remy subordinate? Maybe I had been wrong in believing that deduction of mine for so long. But that didn't mean Yua wasn't my enemy. There remained the possibility that Shogun was the last boss and Yua worked under him. In any case, it would be better to stay away from her. Except, oh boy, except today, I had somehow ended up coming here. I've got like shit going on. In my stomach. Take a sip and make that lava stop from churning inside there. God. I ate some Mexican pepper mustard ketchup. So that was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Oh, Taco Bell, Taco Bell. In Charito. Master Dan, what are you doing here? I have come to kick ass. I carefully studied my surroundings to verify that Yua wasn't here, then slowly lowered myself onto my usual bench. I cast my eyes toward the pond while stuffing my cheeks with the chocolate pastry I had bought at a convenience store earlier. There was a little wind, and the surface of the water remained idyllic. Holy shit. Once in a while, I saw a cord-like fish slide through the cloudy water. Today, rarely enough, there were no other people in the park. It was a very quiet space. As my gaze swam about the park, what I thought of was, predictably enough, Remy. To be honest, going to school was a bother, knowing I would have no choice but to see her, and so I was here in the park, buying myself time. I felt like I'd said all kinds of harsh things to her. Truth. But then again, you don't remember her, so. Despite that, Remy had kept smiling and continued treating me kindly. And if I went to school now, she would surely start talking. Alright. Alright, just yawn. Oh, man. And if I went to school now, she would surely start talking to me again. The same as before. Smiling, acting as though what had happened in front of the 107 building didn't bother her in the slightest, calling out to me as my friend. Somehow that eternal cheerful demeanor of hers depressed me a little. But she also had an atmosphere to her that made me think maybe if I stayed with her, I would start feeling brighter as well. I don't know. With what kind of expression should I go to meet her? I definitely didn't think Remy was a demon anymore. But it was also true that I didn't think of her as a friend. Mr. Mikun had said that Remy and I had got along well as classmates for the past year and a half, but I had no memory of anything of the sort. Perhaps something was going wrong with the person behind me after all. But it was impossible for my memories rather, of Remy to disappear like that, as if they'd been pinpointed. I hunched over even further upon entering the school building. Following my usual principle of getting by at school, I walked slowly along the edge of the hallway as I headed for the stairs. My class was on the 3rd floor. It was quite a pain in the neck to climb up there. If only there were an escalator, I thought. Having come to the foot of the stairs, I spotted a girl ahead of me, swaying as she climbed up. She dragged her right foot a little as she walked. Maybe she twisted it. Her small body wavered from side to side. She seemed awfully precarious. Wow, I fucked that up. Precarious? I gotta be honest, I don't think I even know what that means, and I'd like to know, but I'm not in that kind of mood. So perhaps I'll ask Nick sometime, or the Google. What is the Google, you ask? I don't know. It's a rather unpopular website founded somewhere in the 90s. As the other students steadily caught up with her and passed her on both sides, she climbed up slowly, literally one step at a time. Looking at her from below, it seemed like her panties would start showing any moment now. Crap. At this rate, I'd end up being a peeping Tom. I didn't want people to call me Mirror Man. When that occurred to me, I stepped towards the stair to go past her. Right then, she fucking fell down. The girl caught her toes on the edge of the stairs and suddenly wobbled. Bitch, what the fuck you doing? And she came tumbling down with such momentum that it seemed like I'd hear a bang type of sound effect. Dude, this cat. Woozy woozy. You're getting pretty old, huh? He doesn't give a fuck, though. This cat is just crazy. Right out insane. If he were a dog, he'd probably been put down already. Bloodlusty. Alright. Luckily, since she stopped on the landing, she hadn't fallen all the way down the stairs. Oh god. Ugh. But she remained on her knees as though she were in pain and didn't move for some time. Was this a flag emergence event? Nope. Of course it wasn't. If it were, I wouldn't be able to bring myself to speak to her. Oh, so you just let her sit there. You're an ass. You're an ass! You're an ass! Which is why I hastily slid past her. Sorry, but get help from a third dimension loving woman out there like missing me, okay? Please don't seek anything from me. But she stayed curled up so motionlessly, I started to get a tad concerned. After getting halfway up the stairs, I turned around quietly to see how she was doing. She was clutching the rail and trying her hardest to stand up. Her knees were knocking, like those of a newborn deer. Blood oozed from her knee. I wonder if she had scraped it. No, she fucking licked it. Of course.
Huh?
That face. That's something Nick says like every time I call him. That face, dude. I'd seen it before. Wasn't she the girl who transferred to my class last week? Yes. What was her name again? I couldn't remember. On top of that, she was crying. Did it hurt that badly? She'd fallen pretty fashionably, but it hadn't looked like a big enough impact to merit crying. No one else attempted to offer her a hand. Having barely managed to stand up, she hunched forward to peek at her knee. Apparently she was checking the condition of her injury. The transfer student wiped her eyes, set her bag down, and began rummaging around inside it. What could she be searching for? I thought to myself. Well, all of a sudden, she pulled her hand triumphantly out of her bag and hoisted it above her head. Her fingers were clutching a band-aid. Isn't she cute? Our eyes met. The transfer student's cheeks went red, and she hung her head. Well, for the time being, she seemed to be all right. This might be all right. I whistled for a cab, and when it came near, the license plate is fresh and a dice in the mirror. I wasn't going to do the rest, but I did it anyway. I feel disgusted now. I ruined a perfectly good song. Forgive me, my God! My God, meaning Will Smith. Yeah, it looks like my cat's entering sleep mode, even though I'm yelling. Well, for the time being, she seemed to be alright. And even if I didn't stay and watch her, she'd be okay. Reaching that conclusion, I hastily made for the classroom, where people were still sitting in the same place as they were last week. I lowered my head, as I always did, fixing my gaze on the ends of my toes, which I couldn't see because I was... Oh no, I wasn't sitting down yet. Alrighty, what's gonna go down? Come to think of it, I seem to remember that transfer student saying something to me on the day she transferred in. Something about being glad we were in the same class. Remy had soon made me forget all about it, but I wonder what those words meant.
Yo, Taku.
Yo! As always, Missy Mikun was calling me. Maybe the truth was that he didn't have any friends beside me. It really seems like that. At least, the way he always started talking to me was only sufficient to give me such doubts.
聞いてくれよ。昨日さ、怪しいおっさん2人が校長室に入ってくのを見たんだ。で、俺とリミトでこっそり盗み聞きしてみたらびっくりしたぜ。その2人、刑事だったんだぜ。
Oh my god, what the fuck? Barbecue!
え
Detectives!
なんか深刻そうに全校生徒の名簿とか見ててよ。もしかしてニュージェネと関係あんのかな。
Uh-huh. Perhaps it meant a real New Gen criminal was a student at the school. No matter what, all I kept thinking of was Remy's face. Oh my god.
まあ盗み聞きしてたら見事にバレちゃったんだけどね。
I jumped. Speak of the devil, or whatever they say at times like this. When I heard Remy's voice burst in on us, I felt like my heart made a leap, and I can't read text. And I don't know why I'm doing this voice. Oh my god. Crap battle. I mean, I wish the pacing would pick up a little. I couldn't lift my face. I was tense, but it was an utterly different kind of tension from what I had felt up until last week.
あれはお前がドア勝手に開けたせいだぞ。分かってんのか？
しょうがないでしょ。本物の刑事さんって見るの初めてだったからちょっと興奮しちゃってつい。
Remy, you little bitch.
何をどうやったらついドアを開けるんだよ。おかげで俺らまで刑事から話を聞かれる羽目になったんだからな。
Oh wait, what? So they questioned her? Then they must have thought of what I said.
大臣ってば刑事さんに聞かれちゃまずいことでもあったの？
そういうお前はどうなんだ。
Uh-oh.
さあね。
Miss Me and Remy sandwiched my desk as they carried on their conversation. They disregarded my existence. But to be honest, I liked it better that way. I wasn't confident that I would be able to that I would be able to say anything back if Remy did talk to me. I had anticipated the chime ringing without either of them saying anything to me, but when I flicked a look at the clock, there were still 5 minutes till the warning bell.
そういやタク、ここに来る途中で梢ちゃん見なかったか？
Yes, and I left her rotting. Kozue, who?
ああ、そっか。どうせお前のことだから覚えてねえとは思ったけど、マジでそうだったんだな。先週転校してきた子のことだよ。折原梢ちゃん。
Ah, so that transfer student was called Orihara Kozue.
階段で
階段？
見た。
お、そっか。じゃあもうすぐ来るな。
You're not trying to get in her pussy, are you? Well, it's Mitsumi, I guess he is. Mitsumi's voice was brimming with enthusiasm. I hadn't seen him act this lively since a few days ago when he found out that Fisk was a girl from class next door. In short, I had never seen him put up much effort into anything unrelated to girls. Now that he mentioned it, I'd also seen him to go hit on her last week, pretty much as soon as she arrived. He really was indomitable. Way to go! Never mind the fact that you have a girlfriend, whom we will apparently never meet.
なあ、梢ちゃんってマジ可愛いと思わねえ？
You sure ask me things that I find hard to answer. I nodded ambiguously. Apparently he took it as a sign of agreement.
太郎、俺一目で気に入っちまったよ。なんか守ってやりたくなるんだよな。
I can relate to that, I agree.
男子みんなも同じ意見だよ。どいつも可愛いって言ってんだ。けどよ、女子の間じゃあんま評判良くねえんだよな。まだ転校してきたばっかだぜ。それなのに早くもうざいみたいな意見まで出てきてんだよ。
Uzai. Psst. Fuck him. I mean, yes, she's weak, and yes, she's a pussy ass, but come on.
このクラスの女子って性格悪いやつ多すぎだ。
それって大地のせいじゃないの？
Just a pinch of assholes. Oops! I like that picture.
だいたいそのうざいって言ったのどうせ大地の彼女でしょ？
His girlfriend is in our class?
ああ、そうだけど。
そりゃあ彼女にしてみればうざいに決まってるよ。自分の彼氏が目の前で折原さんを口説きに行っちゃってたらさ。
What the fuck?
私でさえよく喧嘩売られるんだから。大輔君に近寄らないでって。しかも一人じゃなくて何人かから言われた。
マジ？
自覚なしか。少しは反省したら？
いやー、モテる男は辛いぜ。
これだよ。さすが女の敵。私フォローしてあげないからね。あ、折原さん来た。
なんか怪我してるみたいじゃない？
本当だ。どうしたんだろう。
Yes, I left her rotting. Aren't I great? That was when she'd gotten tripped. That's what was she'd gotten when she tripped at the stairs earlier. Of course, I didn't feel like telling these two about it. For now, at any rate. I wanted to avoid talking to Remy as much as I could.
俺、ちょっと言ってくれ。
Mizumi dashed up to the transfer student. Thanks to his departure, Remy was the only person left nearby in my seat. Nearby my seat. God damn, I cannot read. Oh, please don't leave me, Mizumi. Oh boy. Click that shit as fast as possible. I don't feel like seeing this fucking murderous scene happen. Remy didn't say anything. Despite that, she didn't move away from my seat either. And I can hear something weird going on, so I'm going to take off my headset for a while. What's going on? Nothing much, it seems. Yeah, just my cat going insane, I guess. Because I was hunched over, practically deep enough to sink my teeth into my desk. I didn't know what kind of face she was making. All I could see was the area around her waist. But that was enough to show me that Remy was facing me. In other words, she was watching me. Oh boy. At times like this, I should work up my courage and say something natural sounding.
おはよう、咲畑さん。
おはよ
Right on. Our first point of contact had gone well. As soon as I let myself become relieved, Remy made a reluctant face and tilted her head.
う。ねえタク、なんで急に妙ちくりんな呼び方するの？
妙竹林。
咲畑さんなんてなんだか他人行儀。今までみたいに呼んでよ。
The way I was have, huh? I wasn't really sure what that meant. But...
じゃあ、リミ。
お、なんだいタク。
いや、特に何もないけど。
I think I'm getting paranoid again.
じゃあ私から一言。
Amy cleared her throat anew, glanced right about the area, and brought her face closer in my direction.
タクは大地みたいになっちゃダメだよ。ああいう女たらしはいつかひどい目に遭うに決まってるから。
あ、うん。肝に銘じておくよ。
うんうん。タクのそういう素直なところ、私好きだな。
Like, hold on. From Mimi's perspective, was I an honest kind of character?
そもそも私、大臣のことで一つだけどうしても許せないことがあるんだよね。あれだけあちこちの女子に声かけてるのに、私には全く見向きもしないってこと。
I guess that's true. My cat just did a backflip. Shit. He just rolled backwards out of my lap. Like, oh, fuck the police. Fuck Remy. I'm out of here.
ひどいと思わない？
え、三角くんに口説かれたいの？
Well, that made sense. He was a pretty boy, and he was interesting to talk to. Even if you subtracted points from him being a playboy, maybe he was someone a girl would still want to go out with. Was what I thought, but Remy grimaced and shook her head.
タク、冗談きついよ。大地に口説かれるなんて想像しただけで鳥肌立っちゃう。
Hugging herself, she made a show of shuddering.
私はノーサンキュー。
Yes, I wouldn't like being hit on by him at all, no matter if I was male or female.
でもなんていうのかな、女としてのプライドっていうものがあるわけじゃない？ねえ、タクから見て私ってどう？魅力ある？
You sure ask things I have a tough time answering.
どうどう？
On top of that, her eyes were sparkling, and she was bursting with expectation. I did think that Remy was attractive, no doubt about it. But I'd need some pluck to put that into words.
み認めたくないものだな。
若さゆえの過ちというものを。あ
Jesus. Remy smiled proudly. Don't tell me she's actually an otaku. I unthinkingly let out a rueful smile. But somehow, even though it was trivial conversation, it was amazingly fun. Before now, I'd almost never had this kind of conversation with a girl. I didn't know why, but I had the feeling that I'd get along well with Remy. That was why I found myself able to voice those words, as if there were nothing odd about it whatsoever.
リミは魅力的だよ。
Remy reeled back exaggerately, her face becoming visibly redder with each passing moment.
面と向かって言われると恥ずかしい。でもありがとう。タクにそう言ってもらえるとすごく嬉しい。大臣に口説かれるより1億兆倍嬉しい。
1億兆なんて桁はないけど。
なんとなくニュアンスで分かってよ。それだけスケールの大きい嬉しさってこと。
Basically, you're gonna get pussy in your dreams. Sweet. Herein lies the true meaning of youth. If I could exchange these kinds of conversation with her every day, surely my day-to-day life would be fun and fulfilling, and I'd become to see the world in a whole new light. But when all was said and done, that was merely an illusion. When all is said and done, we'll know who lost, who won. In flames again. In reality, I couldn't meet Remy's eyes, and the only thing I went on doing was holding my silence, keeping my head lowered. I detested my own cowardice. What a drag.
Taku?
Yo, what's up? Remy, who had kept her mouth shut up until now, began speaking to me at last, in a somewhat timid tone. But it came out of the blue, leaving me unable to show any reaction. If I were in Remy's shoes, I'd probably feel like I was being ignored. In my heart, I knew things shouldn't go on like this. But in the end, it doesn't even matter.
大丈夫？
This time I nodded desperately. It may have made me seem pretty suspicious.
そう。だったらいいんだ。
Remy's voice was gentle. I could hardly believe it was happening, but it seemed like she was going to stay with me, patient even in the face of my silence. You alright? She said. I suddenly wanted to ask her. That time when Remy came across me in front of 107, how I had looked to her. Considering that she didn't make any reference to them, I had to think she didn't know anything about everyone having temporarily vanished from Shibuya, or about the wheelchair riding shogun. Which, in other words, suggested that it had all been a delusion of mine, as I might have suspected. I wanted to ask Remy about it, but I really didn't feel like lifting my face and questioning her. In any case, I couldn't do it today. I wasn't mentally prepared enough. So next time, I'll ask her the next time I come to school. That's what I'll do. Until then, I'll start organizing all the things I need to ask her about. Which is... what? I was about to say something and I lost it at the moment I was saying it. Holy fuck. So anyways, we are going to save, and as you can see, it's 7:30. What? We're already half of October? God damn. Fucking time flies. Alrighty then. I'll see you guys later, and thank you for watching as always, and I hope to see you next time. See you next time! Wow, that was a failure. Let's try that again, Mario. See you next time! Wow, I suck. I used to be so great at that. I blame my voice. I'm a Wario. I'm gonna win. Ah!